Live again for Championship Powerboat Racing here on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio and also on Race World Offshore's Facebook page on the live stream. We're looking north out onto the course where the milling area is established. We're about ready to start our third and final day of racing for the World Championships from the Deep Impact Custom Boats Blackwater broadcast booth. Nothing looks or rides like a Deep Impact custom boat. Schedule your sea trial today at deepimpactboats.com/plantationboat.com. Todd Swafford here back with you along with John J.W. Powell and Joey Cook from the Key West Citizen. Scott Porte from Porte Marine Products will join us during this broadcast along with Billy Shipley from Team Woody. We'll have a cast of characters as usual. We'll have a lot of interviews for you. But here we are, gentlemen, back in Key West. You know, we're all Key West guys. JW and I grew up in Key West covering powerboat racing in the 1980s. It was a tremendous honor to be asked to come back here and join the broadcast crew. For 2.5 decades, I anchored these broadcasts here in Key West, seen a lot of history here in these waters, and we're going to make more history today. Joey Cook's been covering the powerboat races over the last decade and a half, and guys, this is going to be exciting. Big crowd is building. Our final day of racing for the World Championships.
I've got goosebumps today, Todd. I don't know if it's because it's just a little bit chillier, or if I'm just, I'm excited, I'm ecstatic to be here. It's going to be a great day of racing. I'll tell you, the conditions today, as expected, going to be a little bit choppier, a little bit bumpier. The wind has stepped up to about 12 to 15 miles per hour, so it's going to be a great day for racing. We get started with the production boats here, and then as we move on through the day, right on up to the extreme class.
They've shortened the laps in a lot of the different classes here because you're going to have a real serious tide situation that we're going to talk about. We look at the beautiful 50-foot cigarette pace boat that's putting the yellow flag up and getting these boats to get ready to start. Joey, real quick, you know, you've been on the mic here for so long here on the Zone doing this race, and here we go again, man.
Nothing like Sunday race day in Key West. We all grew up down here watching it. That's what we have our passion for as kids, and we know what Sunday's all about, and it's not going to be any different here today as we look to get this first one started.
All right, our first start is production classes 3, 4, and 5. They'll get up behind the cigarette pace boat. Chief referee Richie Dan Sisson has the yellow flag up to line these boats up, and our second start will be picked up by the Cigarette Hawk, and that will be production classes 6 and 7. So production class 3 here on this first start is going to do 8 laps, 37 miles. Production class 4 and 5, 6 laps, 27 miles. Trying to line these boats up. See the Cigarette Justice lead trying to find a lane. There's Southern Arbor Services as they come out in front of Wisteria Island now, between Wisteria and Tank Island. Richie's going to hold these boats all the way up to Tank Island. There's a buoy on the pier on the east side of that island. It will be the very first part that Richie feels like he can start these boats. We're still just getting past that area right now. So anytime now we can get the start. Great shot of that 50-foot cigarette as we wait for the green flag, and it's up. The race is on. Allez vite. Production class racing. And the two Team Woody boats leading the pack, heading out to turn number 1. That's the 327 Team Woody, Levy Craft, Billy Shipley, and Chad Woody. They lead all the boats out there. GNS leading Class 4 as he heads out.
That Class 4 race is going to be exciting today with GNS and Simmons Marine.
In this broadcast, we will be focusing on letting you know unofficially the 3-day point totals. So it'll be really important to follow these boats. It gets into a really complicated procedure to try and count 3 days of points, but we'll make sure that by the end of the races, you know who we think unofficially won today's race. So looking at the Team Woody boats, right now they're running pretty well. JW, the tide is going out right now, so the wind and the tide are working together.
Yeah, I estimate that the tide is anywhere from probably 5 to 7 knots outgoing right now, and you got a 15-mile-an-hour wind on top of that, so there's going to be a definite groundswell out there by Fort Zachary Taylor.
Yeah, when they move now towards turn 2, everything looked clean there in turn number 1. The lead boat overall is the 327 Team Levy Crap, Team Woody.
And there's your start.
Yeah, our second start is underway now. You see Southern Arbor Services, your overall points leader in the Class 600, taking the early lead, heading out past the Fury and the spectator boats on the west side of this just short of 4.5 mile course. All right, we're looking at your leaders coming out in front of Fort Zachary. Taylor back into the chute, heading northbound. Our lead boats coming here in front of the building crowd at the Outer Mole at Truman Annex. Live coverage of the 2021 Race World Offshore Key West World Championships, presented by Cigarette Racing. It looks like Team Woody continuing to run strong here, fellas.
Yeah, they seem to really be holding their speed coming down the home stretch here. They were saying that when you slow down, you get caught up in that swell, but if you go fast, you're skimming right over top of it.
There they are, the Levy Craft with the early lead. Simmons Racing leading in Class 400 right behind them. GNS.
The bat boat right there in that Class 4, that's going to be the one that really could be the dark horse and upset a lot of teams there.
There's the 527 Team Woody. Rolling Bulletproof, running in second. Rolling Dirty Offshore running second place in Class 300. We'll sort the leaders for you as we look down to the north end of the course. Team Woody continuing to lead, going around the hairpin turn there already. That water getting very churned up. And we look again to your leaders on the south end around turn number 3. See how the boats are being affected by that ground swell right now. And they're bouncing around a little bit, not quite as much as we saw on Friday, it looks like, right at this moment. Well, here comes our leaders at Southern Arbor Services, Gerard Marine, giving a big thumbs up to their team fans watching from the shore. All right, these are the boats from your second start. Southern Arbor's had a great couple of days here in Key West already. Southern Arbor Services, it's a Baja 32, leading after lap number 1. 1 of 6 in the books for Southern Arbor Services. Followed closely by Gerard Marine. Looking back out on the back stretch, heading out to turn number 1, Cigarette Justice League. Very impressive 42-foot cigarette hull. Don Erfer, Richard Davis, and Corey Chantry kind of running out of class, or running alone in class, running unopposed. There went Jackhammer leading in Class 700. Gallagher Marine right behind them. But that boat, Cigarette Justice League, really has looked impressively the first day out here. It led everybody. Beautifully prepared 42 cigarette, brand new boat, a 2020 hull.
Is that the Papamigos up in the middle, in the infield there?
It sure looks like it. They've had a tough week. I don't know if we've seen them come around more than once so far this week, and doesn't look like today's going to be their day either.
And that was going to be one of the races inside the race we were going to be watching for, that second place in the bracket 5, with Bulletproof now taking that lap there. They pretty much have that second place locked up right now.
There goes Southern Arbor Services again. Damon Marotta, senior and junior, had a great week here today as we look back to the race going on around number 2. These are our leaders overall in Class 300, 400, and 500. Looks like Simmons Marine has pulled out to the overall lead here. Team Woody in the 327 had the overall lead. Right now Simmons, this has kind of been their race. They lead early. Cigarette Racing comes through. There's Team Woody 327. Still running in first place in Class 300. GNS comes around. They're running in second behind the Simmons Marine boat now in Class 400. Cigarette Justice lead as well. Completes lap number 2.
That bracket 4 class right now, if it holds position, the two teams at the top right now will come in tied for points at the end of the point system, but Simmons Marine only finished 3 less laps on the first race, so they need a little bit of help from either the Bat Boat or some trouble for the GNS in order to get that world title.
There goes Team Woody Racing, followed by Bulletproof, Team Woody, 30-foot Levy Craft, JJ Turk and Michael Stancombe with a 650 horsepower Ateco. Bulletproof had just come through. Rolling Dirty Offshore now follows second place in Class 300. So your early leaders, Cigarette Justice League, Class 100. Team Woody, 327, and Rolling Dirty, 1-2 in Class 300. Simmons Marine, 1 in Class 400. GNS, 2. And in Class 500, Team Woody, 527, followed by Bulletproof in the second spot. We await to Class 600 and 700 to complete their second laps on this course. Simmons Marine, your overall leader here today. Now, they've started strong both days, but it gave way to GNS late. We saw GNS pass them late in Friday's race. There goes the Gallagher team. That's in bracket Class 700. Gallagher Marine, Jason Mortan and David Kelly in a 28 Panther. Team Woody, 527. Those Team Woody boats very well prepared. Billy Shipley, who will join us later, hard-working mechanic. He's been working hard on that Class 200 boat, JW, and they had it running pretty good the other day.
Oh, those guys just never leave the side of their boat. They're always tinkering with something.
See Southern Harbor Services here in the harbor, continuing lead in Class 600. We're looking out on the back stretch on the live stream, but here live at the Outer Mole, we just watched the top 2 boats in Class 600 come by after lap number 2. And that's Southern Harbor Services and Girard Marine. And we're looking southbound on the course here. This is where the boats were getting some air the other day because of the tide conditions and the increased wind of the day. Right now the tide is getting ready to go low, so it's at the end of the outgoing tide, and the wind is going with it, coming pretty strong out of the northeast at 14. There's Jackhammer, your leader in the 700 class. They've had a spectacular week here in Key West. They've led all the way over the 2 days so far.
Those guys in that Jackhammer are gutsy, and they've got a dependable machine, so they're just pushing it to its limits.
21 Super Boat with a 300 Merc, Brian Guy and Julian Maldonado. As Gallagher comes by in second, there's your overall leader, Simmons Marine, 404. Cigarette Justice League. Team Woody around the 327 boat, first in Class 300 for the third lap. You'll see GNS coming to the screen. GNS now passing through after lap number 3 in second in Class 600.
With the Bat Boat did not come back around again, and because of that, that pretty much opens the door to GNS. They just have to finish at this point. It's a battle of attrition for them right now in order to claim that world championship.
Yeah, we have a boat under tow in the infield.
That's the Papamigos again, isn't it?
Is it? We'll let you know here in a moment. See if it is Papamigos or if it's one of our leaders. Look into Key West Harbor here on the Race World Offshore Facebook live stream. Back to live action. That's the 527 Team Woodies. Yep, that's Papamigos. Not a great week for them, but they gave a game effort here. Rolling Dirty Offshore, running in second in Class 300. Lots more racing coming up here today. Of course, we'll get back underway at 12:30 with the Mod V, Stock Vs, and the Factory 390 class, and also the last of our bracketed classes, bracket class 200. And at 2:30, the largest field of boats is Super Stock, or excuse me, at 1:30, and that's going to be our 1:30 race, 12 boats racing in that class. And then at 2:30, the Super Cats, the 860 boat, the Sweetwater boat, and then the Extreme boats will run. Looking in at 5:27, Team Woody, Turk and Stancomb, they're your overall leader in class 500. So, Joey, we didn't touch on it for local fans. For those of you who follow the sport, this is the bracketed classes. These are boats that may be mismatched in terms of the type of hulls or the power, and in order to get them in a uniform racing structure, they have to fit into a GPS bracket. So they have a speed limit they have to follow out there.
Correct, and that's, you're looking at this right now. Yes, Simmons Marines looks really good right now, and they could be potentially running out to the front. But, one wave here along the way, 1/10 of us over the speed limit, and they're done, and they have to drop back behind GNS, and it could be for naught. So you never know what they're doing out there. They might have already broken over and be pulling, but you never know. But they're just going to go out there and run the race, and that's why you look at GNS. They know the point total right now for sure, and they're just going to, like I said, attrition for them and run their own race. Don't get pulled out or don't do anything crazy to break that speed limit.
Hard run-ins. Southern Arbor Services followed by Girard Marine. That's the way they're running in class 600, 1 and 2. 3 laps of this 6-lap course. They're halfway through. Holy cow, Girard Marine smacked off a wave and stood the bow up on that boat. And it's getting very choppy. This is the action that you get after 3 or 4 laps. Simmons Marine continuing to lead overall and in class 400. We hear Cigarette Justice leave, come by, a little misfire there. Those boats leading the pack here after our first start. Looking again on the back stretch at Southern Arbor Services. Team Woody rounds the course after lap number 4, continuing to lead in bracket class 300. GNS running in second place. They're in an excellent situation after winning the first 2 days in the overall point standing.
They'd be tied right now. These two teams coming in, because the bonus point that was added in there with the bat boat these last 2 days, these two teams would actually be tied coming in if it's holds flat. But the only difference is GNS has completed every lap, whereas Simmons Marines had to pull off 3 laps short on day 1. That is the only difference between those two boats right now.
Jackhammer, your overall leader in class 700, and that is a big advantage to them because, I mean, if they hold second and continue to run and finish the course today, they'll be your overall world champion. Unofficially, of course, they can't break out of their speed bracket. Speed bracket got to be maintained. There goes Team Woody Racing, 527, rolling dirty offshore. Team Woody, 527, continuing to lead overall in the bracket 500 class. Speed bracket for bracket 500 is 75 miles an hour. Speed bracket for bracket 600 is 70 miles an hour. Speed bracket for class 700 is 60 miles an hour. For class 300, 85 miles an hour. And for bracket class 485 miles an hour. Southern Arbor really got that boat running nicely in the turn there.
And it feels like the wind's picked up a little bit slightly. Looking out in front of us here at the outer mole, you can see that the current from the outgoing tide is picked up as well. It's starting to get a little bit snottier out there. You look at class 300, they are bracketed at 85 miles per hour, so that would be their maximum speed. But I tell you what, that's really moving in sea conditions like this.
One thing this course offers you, I mean, it's much like an oval, although it's not an oval. It's certainly a little bit wider at the south end. It's got straightaways of about 2 miles on each end. It's got the hairpin turn on the north end, but you'll get, we hear this all the time, 3 different types of water here over the day, and in days like this especially, and we saw it even on Friday. You had to get yourself ready for 3 different types of conditions out there.
Yeah, you've got the downwind leg, and then you make the turn out at turn number 1. You start running to the east. Those conditions are totally different. And then you turn around, you come right back into the wind around turn 2 as you come back into the harbor. And then, of course, you've got the washing machine down at turn number 3 at the north end of the harbor. So you could experience as many as 4 different types of water, really.
Here we watch Simmons Marine, your overall leader, continuing to lead in Class 400, along with Cigarette Justice League, putting on quite a show for the fans here. Southern Arbor Services, your leader in Class 600, still staying right on his stern is Gerard Marine. And now our overall leader in Class 300, Team Woody Racing. Shipley and Woody continue to run that boat very nicely. Little bounce for them in front of the Harbor Hotels, heading to the hairpin turn on the north end. Here comes GNS. They're just laying back. They're your overall point leader right now in Class 400. And again, as Joey mentioned, their big advantage is they have run every lap. Simmons broke down on Monday. So the tiebreaker, should they invert here today, is one where they've gone around the course a longer distance. They would complete all the laps if they could finish here today and hold on to second place.
By my count, they have a 3-lap buffer right now on that team.
Live coverage of the World Championships as we watch Team Woody, 327 in Southern Arbor Services. Now Team Woody, of course, quicker boat, pulling away. And again, we'll look southbound at the other Team Woody boat running here in this first bracket race. It's Class 500, 527, Team Woody. 30-foot Phantom. Good shot into the cockpit of that boat without protection of a canopy. And the 350 Rolling Dirty Offshore running in second in bracket class 300. Jackhammer completing lap number 4 of 6, still a couple left to go. And these bracket boats, this is where you will not find every boat has a canopy. It's not a requirement of some of these bracketed boats because of the speeds they go. And but some of them obviously do. But later in the day, every boat will have a safety capsule. Here comes Gallagher, Team Gallagher, Panther hull, running in second in Class 700. So boat racing experience was kind of the wild card, guys, in bracket class 400, but they're not going to factor into the 1-2 decision in this one.
They could still, if you have a breakout, though, because they were on the water today, play a major factor. So if Simmons breaks out, or for that matter, GNS has broken out at some point, the bat boat could jump up there a place or two, and then all of a sudden you'd have a different finishing spot on that podium for the World Championship.
All right, there's Jim Simmons and Jason Zalecki in the Phantom hull, 404, Simmons Racing.
Todd, they're finishing their 6th lap, so by our count, that should be a checkered flag for them.
So should wrap up their race. Cigarette Justice League will still have 2 more laps to go. See if they'll they'll go right to the infield. So that was the 6th lap and final lap here today. Team Woody coming around the 327 boat, Woody and Shipley. They've got 2 laps to go. in bracket class 300. So Simmons, what a flawless race for them today.
I don't believe it's going to be enough, though. I believe they'll be tied in points, but because GNS has finished all but one lap at this point, distance traveled will give GNS the world championship.
And here comes a little bit of a change in position. Class 600, Southern Arbor Services has gotten around, or excuse me, Gerard Marine got around Southern Arbor Services, but at the finish line, that's going to be a photo finish, guys. There
They've
goes.
still got one more lap to go.
Do they have one lap? Okay, GNS comes around. We'll have to sort that one out. We'll get the opportunity to see how they do after they come around the north turn. GNS finishes. You'd have to imagine that they stayed below their bracket.
They seem to like not be pulled in by Simmons. And if you're Jim Simmons, you're thinking, hey, look, if I can get them to break out and I win this race, they finish third. I finish second at that point, and that would have given them actually a championship. So, you do everything you can to, play the mental game in these bracket classes sometimes, but I do believe GNS knew exactly where they stood, and they just had to finish today in second place or better to be the world champs, which what they just did.
All right, we look in on 527 Team Woody, the 30 Phantom, JJ Turk, Mike Stancombe. They've led from start to finish both days previous and here today.
And this should be the finish for them as well.
Yep.
This should be their checkered flag for the world championship for them, actually.
Yeah, and it was
start to finish all the way. Never be trailed once.
No doubt. There's your overall winner today in Class 500, Team Woody. First of what they hope to be multiple podiums for that team. So we look as Southern Arbor Services got back around Gerard Marine. This is their final lap. Southern Arbor has won the two previous races here in Key West for the 3-day World Championships. Gerard Marine made it very interesting there at the end of the last lap as they had passed them, but Gerard Marine got back around them heading down towards the turn in the harbor.
I gave that last lap to Southern Arbor Services. They made a move on them right here at the start-finish line, and as they go out into the final lap, it's still Southern Arbor Services, but anything could happen on that outside leg going into Fort Zachary Taylor.
See boat under tow out there.
That's Bulletproof 517.
They will still finish second overall in the bracket 5 class.
Here comes Cigarette Justice League. One lap left for them. Here on this party ride in Key West for them this week in Class 100 as they run unopposed. And here we see the 327 Team Woody boat. This will be the end of lap number 7 of 8. Billy Shipley and Chad Woody. One more away from taking the checkered flag here today in the third day of racing in the Race World Offshore World Championship races in Key West.
Boy, that boat looks good flying along. They've got a bracketed speed of 85 miles per hour maximum. It looks like he's pushing it.
Looking at Roland Dirty Offshore, the Gallagher team coming around. They continue to hold second in Class 700. Let's look south now and see if we can figure out what's going on between Southern Arbor Services and Gerard Marine. They were heading towards turn number 2.
I believe that's Rolling Dirty on the backside over there as well, being towed in.
Yeah, 2 boats under tow.
So yeah, the Bulletproof 517 in the front and then Rolling Dirty in the back, both coming in from that second turn area. The wall out there seems to be a little rough.
The next finish we're watching for is bracket class 600.
Here they come.
And Southern Arbor Services is command again in the lead. It'll be 3 consecutive days with a checkered flag for Southern Arbor Services, your winner in bracket class 600. Gerard Marine will take second. Southern Arbor Services 32 Baja, Damon Marotta Sr. Jr. Twins 300 horsepower is in that one. Big day for them. Gerard Marine takes second as we look at Team Woody. They're out for their final lap of the day. Rolling Dirty is broken down. Team Woody has run flawlessly throughout this week. Jackhammer, another hard-running boat, has always been in the lead in bracket class 700. Heading out on the back stretch. Final time towards turn number 1. We see Gerard Marine and Southern Harbor Services both continuing to run hard. They haven't pulled to the infield. We have them completing their 6-lap course here today. Guys, you got them both done, correct?
I
Yes.
do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, the chief referee said that they were not going to display the checkered flag until the final boat in the final class comes to the finish. So that would be in the 700 class. So I think that sometimes the drivers get confused when they go by and they don't see a checkered flag.
Yeah, they take that extra security lap.
There's not a sophisticated, method for counting laps sometimes. Sometimes it's pulling tape off a dashboard, so, you forget to pull one time, you're in the middle of a tight race like it was that last lap, and both guys forget to pull it, they just keep on running it.
Yeah, and then you see the guy in front of you continuing to run. You got to keep running.
Right.
Just to be sure you haven't made a mistake out there. Here we see Cigarette Justice League. This is it for them. They run unopposed in Class 100. We thank them for coming to Key West and showing what this 2020 42-foot cigarette can do. John Erfer, Richard Davis, Corey Chantry, Cigarette Justice League. That is an old-style boat, JW. That's what we used to watch in the late 70s, early 80s here in Key West. That was the type of boat, stand-up, bolster system. Not too many catamarans back in that time of day.
Yeah, driver, throttleman, navigator. You think back about how the sea conditions and the long duration of those races, how much of a beating those guys must have taken.
And here's the win for 327, Team Woody.
World Championship.
Those guys are going crazy inside that closed canopy. Got to feel great. All the hard work paying off here in the Levy Craft for Team Woody Racing. Billy Shipley, Chad Woody. Victory is sweet. And here's Jackhammer. Jackhammer should be finishing the course also with a checkered flag here, ladies and gentlemen. The Marotas, junior and senior, that's Jason Mortan and David Kelly. No, wrong guys. Brian Guy and Julian Maldonado. And Jackhammer. Big win for them. Just like Team Woody, they left from start to finish.
All 3 days.
Yep. Gotta love that boat. It's
been a lot of fun. The little boat that could.
Exactly. Big 300 horsepower Mercury on the 21 Superboat. Brian Guy, Julian Maldonado in Jackhammer.
The final lap for Team Woody didn't come. Is that they're being towed into, or are they riding alongside there?
And Team Gallagher here coming in. They'll be finishing up in second place in Class 700, but a little victory lap for the Class 600 guys coming up around them on the outside.
The 527 boat Team Woody already finished. I think
they're just riding along bulletproof. I saw that afterwards. Yeah, they're riding alongside their competitors in the 500 class,
making sure everything's okay.
Right.
Good look at that 28 Panther hull, old P1 boat.
Whoa,
single outboard.
They're still running hard even on this extra lap. Gallagher wanted it one last time.
Goodness.
Or should I say Gerard Marine wanted that one. 6th lap for bragging rights.
They did.
Maybe they said double or nothing right now for the championship.
Kudos to those guys. Southern Harbor Services, Gerard Marine putting on a good show here in Key West in bracket class 600. So all of our classes have finished up here today. These are your unofficial standings. Cigarette Justice League, your overall winner in the bracket class 100. Fastest boat of the day was in bracket class 400. That was Simmons Marine. They left from start to finish. GNS took second, and BoatRacingExperience.com will get the third place points, although they broke down after lap number 1. In bracket class 300, Team Woody Racing, the tandem of Shipley and Woody, they led from start to finish. Second, Rolling Dirty Offshore. And in bracket class 500, the other team, Woody Boat, Turk and Stancomb, took the victory. Bulletproof second. Papamigos will get third place points. In bracket class 600, Southern Arbor Services, Gerard Marine took second. And in 700, Jackhammer and Gallagher. All right, Joey, let's look at the points here. Obviously, class 300 team Woody Racing, they won all 3 days, right?
That's a pretty easy one right there for them.
As well
also
as
in 700 and the 600 classes with Southern Arbor and Jackhammer going all the way through, and same with the bracket class 5 all the way through. So your Woodies are both your world champions. Southern Arbor and Jackhammer are the, no doubt, they won every race. That makes it pretty easy. You don't need to do much counting there.
And then in bracket class 400, GNS, 2 victories Wednesday and Friday. Today they finished second. Simmons takes first place points here today.
Correct. Now there's going to be a big question. It leaves them, if everything stands pat, nobody broke out, they are tied 383 to 383 after the 3 days of racing. Then it comes down to distance traveled. Distance traveled, well, you know what? It looks as if Simmons Marine, that day one breakout, they look so good, but Wednesday's breakout and how much this is a battle of attrition, and one little mess up, one little piece, one little part cost the championship for them because distance easily goes to GNS, who finished every lap of every day. So it looks like GNS will be your world champions.
And, of course, Cigarette Justice League, they were running unopposed, but they're your overall winners. They'll get a trophy as well here in Class 100. All right, first race of the day is done, and we are just getting started. Coming up later today at 12:30, we'll have our next start of the day, and that's when our Mod Vs, Stock Vs, the rest of your bracketed boats, the bracketed Class 200 boats, and the single demo class, the stock 450 MTI boat will be out there running. That's 14 boats starting in our 12:30 start. And then at 1:30, the 12 super stock boats will be racing. And then at 2:30, our Super Cats, Extreme, and 860 class, Super Cat 860 class will be running, and that's 10 boats. So still a lot more action coming here as we broadcast live from the Deep Impact Custom Boats Blackwater broadcast booth here live in the Florida Keys on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio. And we thank you as well for joining us globally out there on the Race World Offshore Facebook page. We'll continue our broadcast right after this. We'll go into our intermission report. Lots of interesting interviews and insight coming up. Scott Porte from Porte Marine Products will join us. Billy Shipley from Team Woody, and more on the way as we continue coverage of the 2021 Key West World Championship races.